You guys asked for a night review on the new Acura Gateway model, the ADX crossover. The Integra is great and I'm happy that it's there, but Acura knew that it was not enough to satiate the crossover friendly market. But at the very end, when we're done reviewing the ADX, we're gonna hop in the office to talk about the deals you can find in my area, what the best buy is, and if this car is a good buy after we rank it on the spreadsheet. Real quick on the exterior of the ADX, we have a blackened out bottom portion, and that comes with the A-Spec models. We have this frameless Diamond Pentagon grille, which is an Acura signature. Look at this chicane style daytime running lights. Let me pop down the ISO so you can see them a little bit better. Looks pretty fantastic, and then you can see the LED combination light there for the highs and lows. All right, we have 19-inch wheels down here, fully blacked out here on this A-Spec Advanced, and then we also have that A-Spec logo looking pretty good on this urban gray metallic. Absolutely. So we come to the back. Well, there's one thing I want to point out here, just from my observation. It's not going to show up very well in the camera, but the overhang on the front is pretty long on this vehicle. All right, most people are not going to care, and it really you can only see it when you see it straight from the side. Kind of a mirroring of the headlight design, the chicane style brake lights here, kind of like that aggressive spoiler we have on the top of the hatch. Looks pretty good, and you know, the rear end does give me MDX vibes. In a lot of ways, the styling of this reminds me a lot of that MDX 3-row crossover in their lineup. You can see the ADX badging, the A-Spec, the dual exhaust. Look at Acura doing dual exhaust. Big fan of it, even though this vehicle is not very fast. Plenty of cargo space in there. You can see it's really well lit. And let's go and close this. Oh, and by the way, you can also press and then walk away. There's a subwoofer in there for the Bang & Olufsen sound system. And let's go and check under the hood, because Acura is a precision crafted performance brand, and we should have some performance under here, but there's no props. I have to use a prop stick, which I'm already holding my camera. So let me balance this on my head, pump the ISO as much as I can. So you guys can see, you got a nice little Acura badge there. It's a 1.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder, 190 horsepower, which is down from the Integra, and 179 pound-feet of torque. Made it to a CVT. All-wheel drive is optional for $2,000. This one does have optional all-wheel drive, so this one's pretty much fully loaded. That hood is honestly one of the heaviest hoods. All right, that is incredibly heavy. And maybe that has something to do with the fuel economy that I'm seeing in this vehicle. Let's get in the back seat. I love these white and blue seats. They are gorgeous. I don't know if anyone in the industry doing white and blue like this. Makes this vehicle absolutely stand out. Let's get in the back seat. Standard across the lineup are these vents and USB-Cs in the back. Closing this door feels very HRV-like. And by the way, this vehicle is built in, oh, look, we have some headlights above us. This vehicle is built in the Celaya plant in Mexico alongside of the Honda HRV. You see the ambient lighting on the door there, looks quite good. We got memory seats on this A-Spec Advance as well. Again, the driver's seat looks absolutely fantastic with this white and blue setup. All right, let's go ahead and close that door. Talk about the interior of the cockpit. All right, we do have, I believe this is a 9-inch screen here, and it is Google built-in on the top spec. Oh, I see, I said Google, whoops. Standard is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly, so I do appreciate that. You don't have to upgrade to the biggest trim to get that wireless functionality. All right, best climate control probably in the game. I'm not kidding. Like, their controls are, well, not only do you have auditory feedback with the clicks, you have tactile feedback because you can feel it click, and then you have the visual feedback with the blue and the red, and then you have, I mean, the dials are just so easy and intuitive to use. It's the best climate control in the market. I believe the A-Spec models also come with ventilated seats. The base model does not. Again, they're just 3 trim levels: base, ADX, A-Spec, and A-Spec Advance. All right, USBs down there with the 12 volt and a wireless charger. I like the traditional shifter here. Let's see if I can get the lights back on. There we go. This does have an individual mode, which we will be using a little bit today when we start driving it downhill ascent control. Here's your Bang & Olufsen sound system. I believe it's like 15 speakers or so. I have tested it in California and here. It does sound really good here in the ADX. I think people will be very happy upgrading it to that here in the A-Spec Advance. We also have really nice metal paddle shifters. I've been in vehicles twice as expensive with worse feeling paddle shifters. So you hear that? Yes, that's a really, really quality paddle shifter. Ironically, it's a CVT, so there's no real gears to work with. So at least they feel nice and sound nice when you use them. Behind here is around a 10-inch screen. You can see I'm getting about 23 miles per gallon this week driving the ADX in mixed usage. All right, so I just thumbed through the menus trying to figure out the ambient lighting. I couldn't find a way to do it. Maybe it's just white ambient lighting. I don't know. It's early in the morning. It's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to my fellow fathers out there at the time of this recording. I hope you guys have a wonderful day as we get set to roll out here in the ADX. We're gonna pump up the what do you call it, the front defrost, so we have a nice clear window. Pump up the rear defrost so our back window is nice and clear as well. The sun is coming up, but I will say that the lights this week have been fantastic. You're not going to be able to see that well with the high beams, but the low beams are incredibly bright, great spread, incredible uniformity. There doesn't seem to be any dips around. You know, at the throw of the lights, there's no dead spots in the lighting. The brights, I think, are very respectable. They don't go 40 feet up into the trees. They probably go about 15. So I'm really happy with the lights here on the ADX. They're not the fanciest when you look at them from the outside compared to, like, you know, the Jewel Eye headlights with all the individual beams in there. It does have auto headlights, so the autos just came on right there, for example, or should I say auto high beams. But once we get out to the main road, we'll do a little 0 to 60, and that will kick off my impressions on the ADX. You know what's weird? I just reached for a clutch pedal because, like, a part of my body feels like I'm a little bit in the Integra. All right, sport mode, torque brake, and go. Okay, there it is, 0 to 60 in 9.19, so essentially 9.2 seconds, 0 to 60 from this Acura that's quote-unquote precision crafted performance. It's not much slower than the HRV that's also built at the same plant that has a naturally aspirated 2-liter engine. All right, so I'm gonna get out of sport mode. It keeps the revs really high. You could hear all the fake engine noise that it pumps into the cabin. So I like individual mode where I can put the engine at normal, the steering at a stiffer setting, engine sound at the quietest setting because I don't want to hear this thing buzzing away. It's a smooth engine. It's just, yeah, with the CVT, it's not a great experience from an enthusiast perspective. All right, so 0 to 60, again, 9.19 seconds. It's a slow car, and it starts at $35,000 and it goes to $45,000, possibly beyond if you have it fully equipped with other options too. All right, so if you don't care about straight line performance when you're buying a quote-unquote luxury car, then let's move on to the rest of it. Okay, ride quality is quite good here. It is smooth for the most part. It is quiet, very quiet in here. I don't have acoustic glass, but you know what? Acura's done a good job sealing this cabin. It's very quiet in here. These seats are crazy comfortable. I could be in these seats all day. It's a small, quote-unquote small vehicle. It does not feel small, but for a smaller Acura, these seats are super cozy. Big fan of these seats, all right. What else am I a big fan of? The braking is fantastic. The handling in here is sublime. Acura's done an amazing job with the steering feel, the grip, the feeling in the turn. It just feels like a little bit lifted Integra / Civic, and that's a great thing. It handles so well. It's just, you know, pedal down. It's responsive. You know, here's the thing. From a stop, this vehicle is obnoxiously slow for a luxury car. But once you're up to speed, for some reason, it actually feels a lot faster. It just kind of stumbles out of the first 10, 15 miles an hour. It's really bizarre, but when you're just driving, going 30, pedal down, it seems more happy to give you more performance when you're already up to speed. Simple as that. Is it fast? No, it's still not fast, but at least it's pretty responsive, all right? But like I said, ergonomically in here, like the comfort is fantastic, where my elbows sit on the door and the center console armrest, the seat, the steering wheel feels great. I have a heated steering wheel, by the way, I forgot to mention that. I have the A-Spec badge here on it. You know, the materials are pretty good, but I'm not too worried about the materials on the dash or anything, because I'm just so happy with the climate control. Like I mentioned, like I don't have to think about anything in this car. The software is really simple to use. If I want Google Maps, I do have it in here, but that's only on the, like I said, the advanced trim. But you can still use your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. All right. But the brakes in here, oh my Lord. Ooh, there's a couple Scion XBs at that house. That's weird. Anyways, the brakes in here are just so confidence inspiring. Have a good initial bite, but they're just so smooth and predictable. Honda's like, between the handling and the braking, it's like an A+, all right? And then you have the engine and the powertrain in here, and it's like a C, right? So it's just, it does some things really, and the comfort's good in here. It does a lot, most things really well. It's just, the problem is, for me, precision crafted performance. And I know Acura it would be too expensive for them to put the 10-speed auto in here, but that's what this vehicle needs. Actually, give me a 2-liter with the 10-speed auto, replace this 1.5. I know that the fuel economy might go down, but I'm already getting 23 miles per gallon. It's not like it's gonna get much worse. All right, if you look at the RDX, I want to say I get like 20 miles per gallon in that thing. All right, so it's not much worse. And that's the thing, how this is equipped, around $45,000, I'll just go get a base RDX, because it'll tickle my performance fancy much more. And that's what Acura is. Acura is a precision crafted performance brand. All right. I know that this looks aggressive from the outside with the, you know, the A-Spec styling and the big grille and the cool lights and the big wheels. It does look pretty cool, I'll give it that, but it doesn't have the engine to match, all right, or the transmission. At least in the Integra, if you don't want a sloppy CVT in the Integra, you can get the manual, and the manual is really good in that car. It's really fun and it feels good. All right, and the Integra with the manual does 0 to 60 in like, I want to say like 7 seconds, something like that. So it's 2 seconds faster to 0 to 60 with the same engine. So the engine cannot be its true self in this car. And there's 60. Okay, so it takes a while. Should I play with the paddle shifters for S's and G's? It's really fast. Like crazy fast with the fake gear shifts. Good engine braking. Oh gosh, the upshifts are just so bad though. Pretty sloppy. I mean, they're fast, but there's no real gears, so it can be as fast as it wants. But that was more fun than I was expecting. I'll give Acura that. The paddle shifters, not only do they look good, they actually make this car slightly more fun to play with. But it's mainly the downshifting of the CVT that's the fun part. All right. As the sun's coming up, I see some glossy black creep up around the shifter. You don't notice it at night, so that's a good thing. And you have that glossy black also on the door. But like I said, I'm really happy with the interior experience here. Let's pass this RX. The RX won't have the handling chops as the ADX. The blind spot monitor. Okay, it feels pretty good in the turns. That RX, I would still smoke this vehicle with the V6. All right, and speaking of size, like I forgot to mention this. The hood in this feels enormous. As I look out over the hood, the second I got in here, I'm like, man, this thing feels huge. It feels like you have a battering ram in front of you. The hood looks so big. It looks like the hood from like an MDX. But then you look at the dimensions of the car and they're pretty similar to the Integra in terms of length of the car. But the hood just comes up like in the grille, the front portion of this vehicle is so much taller. It feels like a really chunky front end, excuse me, when you're driving. And so it doesn't like, I wish I couldn't see. The small complaint, you guys say what you want, but this is like a subcompact crossover, and I look out over the dash, it looks like a massive vehicle. It's really strange. All right, so let's get into the office. Let's see what kind of ADX deals we can find in our area, which one I would recommend, and we'll put it on the spreadsheet to see just how good this ADX is compared to the other cars I've reviewed so far this year. In my area, you can see the vast majority. I have 209 A-Spec front wheel drives. Interesting, they mentioned it's super handling all-wheel. It is not super handling all-wheel drive, so just keep that in mind. This is a more basic all-wheel drive system than something in the RDX or MDX, for example, or even the TLX. All right, so it is not super handling all-wheel drive. That's just how this website is categorizing it. All right, but you can see there's very few all-wheel drives in my area. The vast majority are front-wheel drives. It's just interesting that the ADX is not standard all-wheel drive, because if I look at something like a Mazda CX-5, that is standard all-wheel drive, regardless of the powertrain. You get the naturally aspirated or the 2.5 turbo. All right, and the CX-30 as well from Mazda. I'd say this is more of a CX-5 competitor with the interior space compared to CX-30. So it just kind of blurs the lines on the, I guess, segment the ADX does with how roomy it is in there. All right. So anyways, most of them are front wheel drive A-Specs, not the A-Spec Advance. The A-Spec Advance is pretty rare. In front wheel drive, you can actually find more of them in all-wheel drive, it seems like, in my area anyways. But there's quite a few base front wheel drives as well. I mean, for me, I don't think all-wheel drive is necessary on this, especially where I live, okay? Your needs may be a little bit different. All right, but we're seeing price drops already on the ADX. The base model you can have for around $35K, about $1,300 off of MSRP. I don't really recommend at all the advanced package because I think it's too expensive for the performance of the car. So we're looking at $38,000 for the A-Spec package, and I think that's probably worth it over the base grade at $35,000. $38,000 is a good buy. Anywhere over $40K, absolutely not a good buy. Because once you get over $40K, just spend a little bit more and get the RDX. It's a much better vehicle overall, in my opinion. All right. Also, a vehicle I'd rather have over the ADX is a CRV hybrid. And front wheel drive or all wheel drive, you can see the vast majority in my area are the sport and front wheel drive models. And you can get it, guys, you can get a CRV hybrid for about the same price as the ADX starts. One gets 23 miles per gallon. One's way smaller. I know the ADX is a little bit nicer on the inside, but not much. You still get the amazing climate control experience on the CRV hybrid. CRV, I just enjoy driving more than the ADX, and the hybrid in here is far more luxurious than the powertrain in the ADX. Another vehicle I'd rather have is the CX-5 with the 6-speed auto. And the crazy thing, if I want performance for this class, look at this. Where the ADX starts, essentially, I can get the turbo model for the CX-5, and it is, 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, something like that. That's 3 seconds faster, 0 to 60, and a CX-5 that costs about the same or less than an ADX. And the ADX beats it in comfort, I would say, but the CX-5 is so much better of a vehicle top to bottom. So I'm just giving you guys examples that there are better cars out there for the money than the ADX. All right. I'd much rather, whether it's a Honda product or a competitor's product, they're out there. Look at the XC40. You can get them for $30,000 for the base model. I know that the MSRPs are way out of whack on this. All right. We're seeing about 13 grand drop in price, 10 grand drop in price, 10 grand drop in price is probably right. I think the Volvo looks better, but the interior functionality is just a little bit better on the ADX, but the performance is a lot better, or should I say engine performance is a lot better on this Volvo than the Acura. All right. And you can get it for about the same amount of money, and I would pick a Volvo over the ADX. All right. So where does the ADX fall? Oh, this is a tough one, guys. It's nowhere close to S tier. It's nowhere close to excellent purchase, in my opinion. I think at best it's a solid buy. Is it a fire sale only? Well, looking at the vehicles in the fire sale onlys, the ADX is better than all of them. All right, just from the handling, the braking, the comfort, the ergonomics, like the user experience is really good in here. All right, I'm going to put the ADX as a solid buy, but there's so many other cars I'd rather have over it. Okay, is it better than a CX-30 Turbo? I mean, I think I would take a Murano over the ADX. So, man, this is a tough one. And I'd pick an RDX over it. So now looking at the Honda Pilot too, obviously not, it's apples to oranges, but it reminds me of the new Passport. I'm getting the new Passport this week. The ADX is getting swapped out for the Passport. Look, the Passport starts where the ADX ends, and the Passport, I'd pick over an RDX, but wait for my review. I got a review. I've only driven in Puerto Rico so far for very limited stints, so I got to test it a little bit more. But this vehicle is so much better than the ADX. It's a joke. Okay, I know it costs a little bit more, but not that much more. Look, you can get the Trail Sport for $49K, an RTL for $46K with the V6. 10-speed auto, true super handling all-wheel drive, essentially the IVT M4. Like the Passport's a way better vehicle. So stay tuned for that review. The Integra is way better. The Integra is more fun to drive, even in CVT form. Okay, the Integra is more fun to drive. The Integra is prettier. The Integra has more of a draw for me, but the ADX brings an entry-level crossover, which is probably more important than the Integra at this point for the Acura lineup. But it's just, it hits so good in so many areas at ADX, but it really falls apart where you could say it matters the most. All right, this is Acura's, I guess, identity and question, because we're talking about a precision crafted performance brand, and here we are with no performance hybrids. Yes, you can say as the ZDX is fast for an EV, but we don't have any precision crafted performance for the engine compartment here for the ADX. It's really disappointing in that front. And for that, at best, it's a solid buy. Okay. And I think once you're over $40,000, or should I say, if you're looking at the A-Spec Advanced package, it's nowhere close worth $45K. It's a fire sale only for the ADX performance, ADX base and ADS A-Spec. Well under $40K, I think is a good buy or solid buy. And that's the nicest thing I can say about it. Okay, so there it is. My thoughts on the Acura ADX. Could you imagine if the ADX just had the hybrid that the Civic has? I instantly go to an excellent purchase, maybe better. I don't know. It's got a dog of a powertrain, and it just doesn't sit well with me when Acura claims they're the performance division of Honda, and this vehicle absolutely lags behind many Honda models in terms of performance. So thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one, and I can't wait to see you in the comments about the Acura ADX. They need these hybrids in their lineup as soon as possible, but that won't come until 2027. You could say EVs are coming to the lineup with the RSX, but you know, EVs right now, it's a very small part of the market still. I'm going to shut it down. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day and peace.